I stumbled upon something I should have left buried. Back when I worked for a deep clean restoration crew, we got called out to all kinds of rundown places. Abandoned farms, hoarder homes, you name it. But nothing prepared me for what I found at the old Barlow residence. It was the kind of place you walk into and immediately feel like you're trespassing. Not just on property, but on something else. Something watching. We'd been hired by the estate after Miss Eloise Barlow died. They wanted the house cleared for sale. It sat alone at the edge of a crumbling rural road, swallowed by dense pine forest. The house looked like it had been built to keep things in, not out. The air felt wrong before I even stepped through the front door. Inside, it was worse. The scent of mold and decay hit like a punch to the face. Wallpaper peeled like old skin. Every floorboard groaned under my weight, and even the wind outside seemed reluctant to touch the windows. I started with the parlor, dusting shelves, bagging up books too warped with moisture to salvage, when the heaviness began. A kind of pressure in the air, like the walls were leaning in to listen. It wasn't until I reached the second floor that I found the journal, a leather-bound thing, no larger than a paperback, hidden beneath a loose plank beneath the bed in what looked like a child's room. The cover was stiff, brittle. It smelled like earth and smoke. I thought it was nothing, just someone's forgotten diary, maybe sentimental. But the second I opened it, the room changed. The first page was dated August 3rd, 1910, written in delicate, uneven script. The name at the bottom, Reverend Matheson. What he wrote didn't read like a sermon or letter. It read like a warning. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, I write what must be written, that I might free my soul from what I have witnessed in Greywick Hollow. My fingers went cold. It began with the children. Laughter turned to screams. Their eyes lost the light. One by one they fell. Their voices twisted into babble not of this earth. At first we blamed a fever, but fever does not speak in ancient tongues. I paused, my skin crawling. Reverend Matheson detailed how he was summoned after the first child died. Her back arched impossibly, her face frozen in a gasp. Villagers whispered of evil, of devils. He dismissed it, calling it superstition. He was wrong. He wrote, "The rites failed. The sacred words fell dead on the air. The child, no, the thing in her, laughed. 1,000 voices in one mouth. It mocked me. It mocked God."
Still, I couldn't stop. I needed to know more. As I continued reading, the words seemed to imprint themselves on my mind. I started to feel different. The air seemed to buzz, almost hum around the pages. I couldn't focus on the time. I must have been in that room for hours, though it felt like minutes. The further I read, the more I felt like I was being pulled into the Reverend's world, as if his thoughts were becoming mine. Sometimes the letters moved, just slightly, just enough. There were sketches between entries too, crude ink drawings of twisting shapes, horned figures standing at the edges of villages, children with blacked-out eyes and mouths stitched shut. One page had a circle burned clean through it, the edges charred like someone tried to destroy it, but failed. Even when I closed the journal, I still heard whispers, faint at first, like echoes from another room. But the house was empty. My phone had no signal. My radio refused to turn on. I tried to leave that room, I really did, but the door wouldn't open. I flipped through the pages, each one shakier, filled with frantic Latin phrases, as if the Reverend was trying to anchor himself to his crumbling faith. He wrote, "I saw it wear a mother's face. It passed through the town like a sickness, wearing skin like a mask. Each body it left behind was hollow. It is no longer one. It is many. It is legion. That's when I heard it, a soft knock from inside the wall. I froze. The book slipped from my grip. The house was silent again. But something told me I wasn't alone. I retrieved the journal with trembling hands and turned to the final entries. October 30th, it read. I no longer sleep. The whispers come through the walls. The thing knows me now. It says my name when the lights go out. It sings in dreams I cannot escape. I flipped to the last page. October 31st. All is lost. The town is gone. It took them all. Men, women, infants in their cribs. I feel it now, within the walls of this house. It smiles with stolen mouths. I no longer know if I write these words or if it does, but I must try. Fiat voluntas tua. If these are my last moments, let them be recorded. I hear it now. It is at the door. As my eyes scanned the final sentence, the air in the room seemed to warp. Wind howled through the cracks in the rotted window frame. I backed away, but my feet felt nailed to the floor. Then came the voices. Soft at first, like breathing through glass, but they grew louder, until they echoed off the walls in a tongue not made for human mouths. It was the same voice written in the journal. Ancient, crawling. Daimonium te spectat. The light dimmed. Shadows lengthened across the floor like spilled ink. Rising, curling. My breath caught. That's when I saw it. In the farthest corner of the room stood a figure, thin and impossibly tall. Its skin the color of grave dust. It didn't move. It didn't need to. I felt it, felt its gaze, cold and hollow as the grave.
Panicked, its mouth stretched into a grotesque grin, and in a rasping, otherworldly growl, it echoed the Reverend's final words. Fiat voluntas tua. I ran. I tore down the stairs, through the corridor that seemed longer than before, and burst through the front door into a fading dusk. I didn't stop running until I reached my van and sped off down the dirt road, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror like it was exhaling shadows. I quit the next morning, moved 3 towns over, disconnected my number, left no forwarding address. But some things follow you no matter how far you run. At night, I still hear the whispers, curling through my vents, slithering beneath the floorboards, repeating words that make no sense but feel older than time itself. And as I write this, I can feel it again. That pressure. That stare from the darkest corner of the room I refuse to look at. It hasn't forgotten me. The worst part isn't the memory, it's the not knowing. I've burned the journal, smashed the floorboards where I found it, even reported the house as structurally unsafe. But that thing, whatever it is, doesn't need a place to live. It needs a mind, a crack. A doorway, and I gave it one. Every night I try to sleep with the lights on. My dog growls at corners where nothing should be. My reflection lingers half a second too long. I hear my name whispered in voices that sound like mine, but aren't. I've spoken to priests, mediums, even a retired demonologist who wouldn't touch the journal when I described it. He only told me one thing before hanging up. If it speaks Latin, do not answer it. But I already did. When I read those words aloud, fiat voluntas tua, I think I opened something, agreed to something, bound myself in a language I was never meant to understand. So I write this now as a warning. If you find something hidden, something old, written in blood and prayer, don't read it. Don't bring it into your home. Don't even touch it. Because the moment you do, it knows your name too. And when the wind begins to whisper, and the lights flicker without reason, and you think you see movement where there should be none, it's not your imagination. It's already here.